Ciao ragazzi, it's the Milan Guys podcast, episode 28. We have three Milan guys here with a very special guest, Serie A commentator Patrick Kendrick. Patrick, thank you so much for being on here. It's an honor.
My pleasure. Delighted to be here.
Awesome. So, we're not going to beat around the bush. Let's get right into it. Milan Sparta Prague 1-0 yesterday with a very youthful lineup, I'd say. With guys who I think Leo Duarte didn't start for a full year. I believe he didn't have a start. I think he started against Lazio, which was last year, which was a dreadful, dreadful loss. Milan came out victorious with a beautiful goal from Jans Petter Hauge. Just this guy, this Norwegian stud, the way he it's weird. Like when he gets the ball, it's like, okay, what is he going to do with it? And it's so casual, but he nutmegs everybody. It's crazy. And then he did the same thing to the defender again, like 20 minutes later, and the guy obstructed him. It could have been a rigore, but just what a player he's turned out to be for a cheap, or what, a 5 million euro or something like that. But yeah, does Umbi or Marco, do you guys have anything to say about yesterday's game?
Marco, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. Yesterday, I was really impressed because I liked the starting lineup that Pioli put out. I think putting all those guys was a great decision. You need to give Colombo, Maldini, all those other guys. Kalulu was playing. Conti, I was happy to see. He had the captain's armband, which was nice. But I have to say, I was really impressed by Tonali. I think seeing him on the ball, he was more dominant in the midfield. He controlled the game, and he had some really good opportunities that he did create. So he, for me, was a standout player. Of course, you had Hogg, but I think what I also saw was Maldini. He was a little bit kind of off a bit, and I think for him, which wouldn't be a bad idea, maybe January he goes out on loan to get some more playing time. I think he really needs it still.
Basically going off what Marco said. I loved the lineup Pioli put out. It was just like a big energy move. Like he said, okay, we made it. Let's hope for Lille to self-implode like they did.
They did.
Let's at least get a goal. Let's make sure we win. And so Marco said he was surprised with Tonali. I was surprised with Tatarusanu and with Kalulu.
Beautiful saves by Tatarusanu.
Kalulu made that big mistake at the end where Tatarusanu had to kind of save him with that nice little one-on-one save in the 92nd, 93rd or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically we all made fun of him after the Roma game, but hey, he earned us an extra 500 million euros in prize money. He secured us not playing any Premier League teams in the round of 32.
Did you say 500? Did you say 500 million?
No, sorry, not 500 million. 500,000. I wish 500 million. I wish.
You're gonna say Mila, weren't you?
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was it wasn't a super exciting game. It wasn't a boring game. Like Hauge showed me flashes of Heung-min Son, which I really loved.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you able to catch the match, Patrick, or no?
I didn't, but I was at the previous one against Celtic. I've been very impressed with Milan in Europe. I have to say, I've been impressed with Milan all season. It's hard not to be, but yeah, finishing top of the group whilst being at the summit of Serie A with a 5-point cushion. I mean, you must be pinching yourselves as Milan fans.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's
back in the day.
Yeah, it's been a rough 7 or 8 years, right? Like I was watching some. There's a YouTube channel that has highlights every Milan goal for the last 5-6 years, and I was watching some of those highlights and thinking, wow, what a sad lineup it was in let's say 2015, and then the run of coaches. I mean, people Inzaghi, my favorite players of all time, but let's face it, he wasn't ready for that role. Even Seedorf, he did a decent job, but they let him go. We still don't know what happened with that. Very odd. And then we had Christian Brocchi as in Christian Brocchi, who's now
he did well. He did well as the interim.
Yeah, he was okay, but obviously he's at Monza now. Which is the thing is that when Milan made all these mistakes with bringing in these coaches who aren't ready for Milan, they have to go to with Inzaghi. He goes to Venezia, and then he does and he goes to Benevento, and now look at him. Now he's in Serie A,
And that ill-fated spell with Bologna, which a lot of people forget
yes,
as well.
Bologna, yes. But he wasn't ready for Bologna either, I think he had to go to Serie B. Or was Venezia in Serie C?
Serie C, and he brought
Yeah,
on
I
to
think he
be.
brought them up, and then failed in promotion the second year around.
Yeah. And then he went to Benevento, and then he had that record-breaking Serie B season with Benevento, and then he brings up to Serie A. And I don't want to jinx anything, but because I would love they can stay up, but he's been doing a pretty good job. They took points off of Juve. They took points off of, oh my god, I forget now. Did you have any other matches, Patrick? Have you had Benevento?
I've done them a couple of times, actually. Yeah, I did them losing 5-2 to Inter. That was very entertaining. I'm just trying to think what else.
I'm going to look now. I'm going to look on my...
I did them against Sassuolo. I think they were beaten 4-1, possibly. No, was that Crotone? I'm getting confused. God, this is terrible.
They beat Bologna, beat Sampdoria, and they beat Fiorentina 1-0 too.
Oh, okay. So all
they did indeed.
teams.
Improta got the winner. I remember that. They've been really entertaining, to be fair, and it was fantastic when there was that. I tell you which game I did. I did the game against Napoli. That was really cool with the Insigne brothers both scoring.
Oh yes, you know what? That goal by Lorenzo Insigne was just delightful. I think it went bar down. I think.
It did, yeah, with his left as well. It was. I think I said something on commentary like, "Anything you can do, I can do better."
That's what it was.
It was an incredible game to do, to be honest. But they've been really fun, to be fair. I did, yes. I'm just looking now. I did them the 5-2 loss at home to Inter, and then I did the Napoli game. Yeah, the one I was getting confused with was. I think it was Crotone I did against Sassuolo. They got battered 4-1, but they've been getting smashed every week, to be honest. So, with the greatest of respect to Giovanni Stroppa, who, from all accounts, is going to be there till the bitter end. So, credit to them.
I know.
I think
another one with Milan, a Milan past. I seem to recall.
Yes, he was. Yeah, you know what? Milan made a lot of mistakes with coaches, right? And how many teams are successful having a revolving door of managers, right? I mean, it's just you don't see it. And when Gattuso,
Chelsea maybe,
maybe Chelsea. But you know what, Patrick? In England, it's different because they have money to hide their manager woes. They spend those guys over there. They spend in Italy. Juve are the richest team, and Milan. We like our loan with options to buy, right? So we
or up until 4 years ago, the comproprietà.
Yeah,
the buying half.
Oh wow! Don't talk to a commentator about comproprietà.
Oh my god!
Absolute nightmare. Knowing which team they technically belong to at that stage, and when they've done the buste and who paid what. Even now it's a bit tricky with these, because if you look on certain websites. Often it's a 2-year loan deal, then with you can call it an obligation to buy. I mean, we don't even have proper terminology for this because I think they're all concepts basically created by Claudio Lotito, to be honest. You can call it a compulsory purchase agreement, whatever you call it. But often these players technically are on a 2-year loan deal, which then basically becomes a permanent deal because the criteria will be met, sort of Chiesa to Juventus. Yeah. So for all intents and purposes, he is a Juventus player and will be. But I think probably technically, if you go on somewhere like Transfermarkt or any sort of statistical website, he's on loan from Fiorentina, and then it becomes a little bit tricky. You're not even sure how to necessarily talk about these players.
No, exactly.
Are they scoring against their former club? Are they scoring against their parent club? You know what I mean? So,
You know what? I think Milan did the exact same thing with Frank Cassie. Cassie was a 2-year loan deal with obligation
with option.
Oh no, obligation. It was obligation.
Oh, it was obligation.
Yeah, it was obligation. So, but Tonali, I think so. Tonali's deal is a bit different because I think he signed a 5C, and this is what Patrick's talking about. I think so. Tonali signed a 5-year contract, but he's on loan from Brescia.
But was it 2 years or?
No. It's just a 1-year loan with an option to buy, but he signed a 5-year contract with Milan. So. It only happens in Italy, by the way. It doesn't happen. I don't think it happens anywhere else.
You're right, because you only see this in Italy. I'm telling you.
But what can I say? We're the most clever when it comes to making deals.
It adds to the drama, and I think Patrick, you can probably you're in Milano, right? So it's just like everybody, all the owners, all the directors are so emotional to it that it's just like you'd love to be a fly on the wall in these negotiations for these terms that they don't even exist in Calcio. I think they're just kind of made up by like Lotito and Galliani.
It's a fugazi at the end of the day.
Maybe Galliani, the days of the Condor.
100%. I actually spoke to a friend who works at Sampdoria because I couldn't fathom that at all. I said, because like you, I said, how can someone have a 5-year contract if they're technically on loan from that first year? Yeah. The option hasn't been triggered. And he basically just said it was a way of making sure that essentially they don't go out of contract and then they can basically demand the earth to stay on. So it's basically a sort of a placeholder, as if to say, as and when we keep you on, these are the terms of your contract for the remaining years on your deal, basically. So I think it's a negotiation ploy. But yeah, no, it's fascinating, to be fair, and it's never really cut and dried, and you're never quite sure what's going on. I mean, I have to be careful because obviously I work on the league.
Yeah, I know.
You see some strange deals, and I know that a lot has been written about, sort of creative accounting now. And the one that got me was the Spinazzola Luca Pellegrini deal, which was just bizarre, really. I think 29 million for one, 25 million for the other. The difference is 4 million or something like that. But the way Spinazzola's been playing, and then the way Juventus have just farmed Luca Pellegrini out on loan to Genoa, I don't really understand that. I mean, it's one thing, going to Cagliari. It's another going to Genoa, and admittedly, I think there's a quite significant age difference there. I'm going off memory. I think Pellegrini's a 99, and I think Spinazzola's a 94. So there's probably about 5 years difference between them. So I mean, it makes sense. But again, some of the fees involved, and it's just very hard to keep track of things. I almost missed it this summer that Inter had bought back Pinamonti. So you really need to be on your toes, to be honest.
It's like it's the drama of Serie A, right? That's exactly what it is. And like when friends who are like they're Premier League fans, they try to ask about it. It's like, listen, it's just how it is. It's just that's Calcio, that's Serie A. But like you were saying with the Spinazzola and Pellegrini deal, the Pjanic and Artur deal with Juve and Barca is very similar and also very odd. Why would Barcelona go for the player who is 6 years older and they only value him 10 million euro less than Artur? That was a deal that kind of didn't really make sense. It made sense for Juve, but it didn't make sense for Barcelona.
Well, I don't know if I can actually say this without being held accountable for anything, but it was just like an accounting method that it was done for.
I know. But like, it's just, you look at those deals and the average fan says, well, that's a garbage deal for Barcelona, but creative accounting.
At the end, they won. They won that deal.
Well, who did?
Barcelona, because their books became more balanced.
I guess, yeah. That's what Milan have been doing over the past couple of years. I think Maldini and the Mazzara and Gazidis have done a really good job with, like, Umbi, you're a fan of Gazidis, no?
I am. Yeah, he's a modern man.
He is modern. I'll ask Patrick. Patrick, what are your thoughts on Milan with Gazidis and under that new reign over the last couple of years?
I think it took him a while to find his feet, but I've certainly been impressed with his efforts to learn Italian. I've noticed he's been doing a lot more publicly speaking Italian now, which obviously goes down very well with the fans. Obviously. I quite like Mazzara and his demeanor. He doesn't seem to be, he's not one of those sporting directors that wants to necessarily be in the limelight and basically get all of the plaudits and things. I think they're working away quietly and well, to be honest, because you do. Milan are fortunate in having someone like Maldini. I'm going to irritate anyone. Yeah, Paolo Maldini. Yeah, of course, you have to specify. Now, they're fortunate having Paolo Maldini in that role because of who he is and because of his gravitas, but also his humility, I think. Now, I'm going to upset anyone that listens to this that's of a Roma persuasion, but you could never have Totti doing a similar role at Roma, despite the fact that essentially they are both club legends of a similar stature in the history of the game, to be honest. And I just think Maldini in that role fits very well. And you have those links to the past, but they're not overwhelming. You don't have the spectre of Maldini. You have him there to help maintain standards, and standards now being brought back to where the club needs them to be. But similarly, he's not there in the background. He's not gone into coaching either. So there's no suggestion that the first sign of trouble, could Maldini step in and be caretaker? And I think probably the Pioli hire has worked out very well because he didn't have any previous association to Milan. You guys rattled through the names previously, but there were loads. There was Gattuso, and there was Pippo Inzaghi, and there was Brocchi, and there was Seedorf. So, as many as 4 that have just come to mind now. And I think Gattuso, just on a quick side note, is really showing what a good job he did at Milan, and showing at Napoli that it wasn't just a fluke either. I mean, I really thought that Milan it was bizarre because I was actually working, I think I was still when Milan came 5th, a point behind Inter. That was the season, wasn't it, when Inter beat Empoli on the final day of the season?
Were you doing Inter Empoli that game? Were you on the call?
I was actually working for Inter, still working at Inter that season.
Oh man, that match, you don't understand. That it was May. I remember the day. It was May 26th. Okay, May 26th. Milan beat Spal 3-2. Did exactly what they had to do. And
what a game that was, by the way.
Oh, great game. But Inter, I'm assuming I guess you were working for Inter, so you watched the match.
Yeah, no, 100%.
How does D'Ambrosio do the acrobatic bicycle kick clearance off the goal line? How does Empoli not score? They had 6 chances.
Oh, it was incredible.
Oh
it's such a good game. Handanovic played his best game in recent memory. Nangolan, now the forgotten man, just rolled that in so nonchalantly, despite the fact it wasn't easy. It fizzed back at him. I think
Icardi missed a penalty.
It was Dromgovski that saved a penalty, I think, for Empoli. It was an incredible game, and I remember thinking at the time it was strange because obviously I was working for Inter, and it was literally winding. That was the last game that I was there for because I quit in May of. Well, I left at the end of my contract, end of May 2019. Actually, the final interview I did was Conte coming in with Stephen Shank. But I remember thinking, God, Milan are so unlucky not to have finished in the top 4 because I commentated on Milan a lot during that run towards Champions League football. And they weren't conceding any goals.
No.
And it was just, they were easy, they were comfortable wins, not dissimilar to the form that they're showing now, to be honest. And I just remember thinking, they don't ever look like conceding. And that's when my whole love affair with Alessio Romagnoli started. And I still get stick about that because I seem to be the only person that properly rates him. Anytime he makes a mistake, I get friends messaging me saying, "Oh, there's your Rolls Royce Romagnoli again."
Oh my God, he's fantastic. He's absolutely fantastic. And actually, Umbi is not. He's actually been on his case a little bit this season. But I know Marco's a fan like I am.
I'm a fan of Alessio Romagnoli. Even though like when he came back from injury, we all know
back in the derby. In the derby, he came back. You know how tough that is?
And it's very tough, exactly. So I give him credit. Like he was off. Like don't get me wrong, he was not the same as before like May and June. But I see him coming back, and I think that goal that he had was a huge confidence booster.
He told the camera. He told the camera. He told the talk.
He told the people be quiet because stop hating on me because he's proving the haters wrong. So I think him and Kier put a solid performance throughout all the games. But I have to say the most important guy back there is Kier. Even though
oh my God,
he's been with us for so long, he's fantastic. But Kier, he was that difference maker in the back, someone we needed because Musacchio. You saw with Musacchio that he was missing things that Kier has, and we needed what Kier has. Like I know when someone's holding up the ball, like say there was like a Lukaku, Kier would just come up behind and just get the ball as soon as Lukaku's about to receive it, and that's what we were missing. Like something like that, like a defender that
wasn't afraid.
Yeah, anticipates so well. So I think that's really good.
Yeah, you know what? I think, and we were talking with Patrick, talking about like Gazidis, Maldini, Mazzara. I think Simon Kier might be their best signing. I think that player. What do you think? What Zlatan?
Yeah, easily.
Oh yeah, okay. I understand, but Zlatan's
does he even count?
He doesn't count. Zlatan doesn't count because that's self-explanatory. Anybody for me, I was actually talking about this with some friends yesterday. What's good business? Good business isn't buying a player for 60 million euro. Good business is getting Jans Peter Hauge for 5 million euro from the team that you just played against in the Europa League, and signing Simon Kjær from Atalanta, who was on loan at Sevilla. I think it was 2.5, 3 million euro. I mean,
Yeah,
that is crazy business for a Simon Kjær who is a leader on the team. He came in just in January. He hasn't been here for a full calendar year, but he's a leader on the team, and you can see it with. I remember, I think it was against Napoli. Kessie put his hands behind his back and cleared the ball.
Yeah.
I guess didn't want to risk a handball. And like looked at him and put his hands and said, "What are you doing with your hands behind your back?"
Well, that's what you need. You need Kjær to get on people's backs, like how Ibra does. Kjær, I find him the same way, because you can't concede a corner. You know, you got to do whatever it takes not to get a corner, because they could score, of course. So
no, every game he plays, I think he's more the defensive leader than Romagnoli is.
Yeah, but
I think Romagnoli has really thrived next to Kjær.
Yeah.
I think,
100%.
I think that's what he needed at this stage of his career, because
he has greatly improved.
I think he had to carry the one next to him, and it was often Musacchio, to be honest. Whereas now he can just focus on his job. And I get the sense with Romagnoli that football just comes very naturally and very easily to him. And I think he almost needs to. It's a focus issue rather than anything else. If his levels drop off slightly, but I feel like Kjær keeps him switched on, and they're such a good partnership as well. And especially given that Theo on the left is not doing much defending, to be honest. I mean, he has a lot of things going for him, but I mean, defensive, and maybe I think that's part of the game plan. I don't think they're overly concerned with Theo Hernandez staying back.
Yeah, well, like when Theo pushes up, you can kind of see that you would either be like, so on the left side, that'd be Frank Cassie, I believe, would kind of cover that wing. Would kind of cover that for him. And then, I mean, I guess Pioli has instilled a mentality that we defend as a group, we defend as a team. So it's our shape. We always have a shape. And that's why you need players like Alexis Salamakers, who great business in my opinion, because he's a player that will run up and down. He'll defend for you. He'll go on the counter. And that's why you need players like that to help out a guy like Dale. But you know what? I will be on. I love Dale. Don't get me wrong, but his defensive capabilities have improved this season
greatly
compared to last season. He's not the mistake. I don't want to jinx it. And I'm not gonna knock on wood right here. He hasn't really made any defensive errors. I would say any clear defensive errors. And like I said, if he did, we defend as a group, as a unit. I think Pioli's done a fantastic job. I mean, you know, I say Pioli, but obviously his technical group has done beautifully. And even Daniele Bonera, when he came in, Bonera looked like a natural.
He didn't lose the game.
No, he didn't lose a game. So he came in, he looked like a natural too. So obviously, and you hear some of these players talk and they say familia. So like, I think in defense and attack, we defend and attack as a unit. And I think that's kind of what's gone to our success. And you know, like Romagnoli, he's the captain, but he has, like, you know, we're Canadian, so I'm going to say hockey. In hockey, you have a captain, you have assistant captains, vice captains. So Romagnoli's the captain. He's been long serving for the club. He went through the BS, I'll call it. Like he never really had a fantastic defensive partner. Simon Kjær is the best player he's played. I mean, Bonucci was pretty brutal with Milan, to be honest with you.
Horrendous.
So I'll say Simon Kjær is the best defensive partner he's had, and he's the captain. But then you have Donnarumma making calls from the in between the pipes, and then you have Simon Kjær, you have Zlatan, and then you have Frank Cassie, who they call Presidente apparently in training. That's his nickname. So you have a lot of these players who are leaders in the field, and it's great. And even with Simon Kjær out and Zlatan out, so they're two big leaders in the team, we still got the job done against Sampdoria at the weekend. So it's just...
What was the final score of that game again?
2-1.
2-1? Yeah, 2. Oh, that's when they almost conceded at the end.
It was squeaky because Ekdal had the free header at the death.
But another big thing that I realized too at the back, with the big difference, we have Kjær, but we also have Calabria, who has tremendously changed his whole game. I think he was
back to like how he was when he was a 18, 19-year-old kid.
Yeah, exactly. And he was not like Cutrone or Locatelli, who those guys struggled and they left. They had to leave. But instead, what I liked about Calabria, he actually proved to everyone that he could be even better. And he did. And we see it this season. Like, he's phenomenal on the right. You know, I haven't seen him have a bad game. And it's just great to see him just back there.
Not in a while, yeah.
No, not in a while. No,
But didn't he also tear his ACL on the same leg twice, like in the span of a year?
No, that was Conti, no?
No,
Calabria was out for a while as well with a knee injury.
Is it 3 years ago?
Yeah, it was when he barely played a full season. He played maybe 2 games.
I think that was when we had Abate still, right?
The best right back in our history.
Nick, Cafu, where's Cafu, right? Abate. You know what? Abate was a great servant to the club. You know, I remember
Abate and Tassotti 1 and 2.
Tassotti.
Well, I have a question for everyone. So we talk about the future, right? You know, we have Kier now, but do you guys see Gabbia as being a future partnership with Romagnoli?
No.
I think it's. I'll go first, and I'll send it off to Patrick and Umbi. I think listen. I don't want to be biased or anything because you know my love for Milan, but I'll tell you if a player stinks or not. And honestly, I don't mind Gabbia's performances every time I see. Like, obviously, what's the biggest match he's played in this season?
I'd probably say that the Europa League game against Rio Ave, no?
Yeah, but you know what though? We started Maldini and Colombo that match. Is that right?
Yeah.
We started Maldini and Colombo that match, right? You were on the call. I believe so.
Absolutely. Yeah, for against Rio Ave.
We started.
That was when there was a real issue with personnel.
Yeah. We started Maldini, Colombo, and I don't know. For me, I think Gabbia is a great third option to have. Like, you look at Bastoni on Inter and how he's kind of grown into this really good defender. What's to say that Gabbia can't keep growing? I mean, he's from the youth product. I love growing homegrown talent.
Plus Valenza FC, baby.
Yeah, Plus Valenza. We got Plus Valenza for Cutrone.
Exactly.
We got 20 million euro for him, and now look, he's at Fiorentina on the bench. So
stinking.
Exactly. So that's good. That's literally Plus Valenza. That's called a good business. But you look at Gabbia, I think that, I mean, Marco, when you say future, like, what, depending on what your expectations are for Gabbia, like, my expectations aren't for him to become Romagnoli.
So I don't starter, like a consistent starter with Romagnoli right there.
I expect him to be a player that, like, a good defender, a good defender, and that's it. Not world class, not one of the best in Serie A. Just a good, reliable guy. That's it.
So more of like a rotation guy. So
I guess so. Sure. I mean, a good third choice would be nice. I mean, you know what? I look at Pierre Kalulu yesterday. Is he ready to get some minutes in Serie A if need be? Is he ready?
No.
I mean,
no.
He's the modern center half, though.
I think he needs to go out on loan.
Same. I agree.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. Do you trust Musacchio as forward? You trust Leo Duarte?
Hey, Musacchio was good. Then he started getting all those injuries. Then he started complaining.
He's injury prone.
He is injury prone, but I'm with Umberto. I trust Musacchio more than Kalulu and Dorate.
No, I get it. No, I get it. But I don't. But what I'm trying to say is that your fourth choice can't be injury prone, right? It's tough because Romagnoli has had injuries in the past. Simon Kier is injured right now. Gabbia, who knows? Also, side note, Gabbia, one thing he's very good at, and he's better than Romagnoli and Chiera, is on set pieces, he always gets his head on the ball. He needs to learn how to keep it down. He needs to learn how to keep the ball down.
He's aggressive, yeah. He's like Ranocchia back in the day. Yeah. He'll always get his head on it.
Ranocchia, the frog.
The best center back in Italy's history.
I guess we'll ask Patrick too. Patrick, like, you've watched a little bit of Milan this season. What are your thoughts on a guy like Matteo Gabbia? Like, what's his ceiling, you think?
Well, I like Gabbia because I was actually I was interpreting on the U20 World Cup last summer in Poland.
Really?
Gabbia was in the Italy squad. They had a good run. I think they went to the last 4 with
They
Paolo
did.
Nicolato, and he's now been promoted to the U21s. But that's a good crop, the 99s. With Luca Pellegrini, we mentioned earlier. There's Gianluca Scamacca that played in that. Pinamonti. Bastoni's a 99, but you wouldn't know it because he's been around for a long time now. You
For
know,
a while.
that loan
This is
Parma
what,
did
third
it
year?
very well. Yeah, exactly. So second
Yeah.
season at Inter, and he had that year at Parma as well. I remember actually doing his debut, Bastoni, in Serie A. He and this guy Filippo Melegoni, who's now at Genoa. Actually, they both came on, and they were young guys at the time. But no, I like Gabbia. I think he's composed on the ball, and I think he's only going to get better. I mean, 21 is very young for a centre back, and so it does take a while to get to grips with the position. I mean, I know Alessio Romagnoli was very precocious. I mean, he came through young at Roma. He had that great move to Samp. He thrived under Mihailovic. But Gabbia is in the right place for his development now. He's got Chiesa and Romagnoli, who will start week in, week out when they're fit. He's going to get opportunities in the Europa League, depending on how far up the priority list that is for Milan. I'm curious to see how Milan approach the Coppa Italia as well, because, do you go all out to win a trophy and play a strong team? History tells us that most of the Serie A top 8 tend to play a weakened side in that round of 16. So that will be quite an interesting one as well to see if he gets minutes there. But he simply needs to be patient because, Milan-Torino should be a comfortable victory for Milan, especially given where Torino are in Serie A. They're not going to be looking to go on any sort of run in the Coppa Italia. So I think he's got potential. I wouldn't expect him to be a mainstay of the side for many years to come. But I agree, there's the option of either trying to sell him and making good profit on him, given that, you've only paid for his development, or, he accepts a role as someone who's going to make 15 to 20 appearances a season and be there as a backup in case someone gets injured, or be willing to step in and perform either in Europe or the Cup.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, and the thing is though, like, it's nice to have a guy like Gabbia in the squad. And at first he was a guy who, wow, who's Gabbia? How good is he, right? But then you were on the call for the U21, right? So you saw him, and I don't know. And then when he starts to get more matches, it's like, okay, maybe this, like, the experience is huge. Like him playing that match against Rio Ave, that's great experience for him. Like a tough match in the rain. With two teams wanting to qualify Europe, that's great experience, right? But I think that these are guys that if they grow within the squad, and especially with some continuity with the manager with Stefano Pioli, I think these guys can keep improving. And I think in the Coppa Italia, I'm not sure
what that exercise is going to look like.
I think
against the master tactician
Gianpaolo.
Yeah.
I think Milan will probably put a lineup similar to the one we saw yesterday against Sparta Prague in the Coppa Italia. Maybe a couple of changes, but I think you'll see Gabbia, Kalulu, Diogo Dalot, Conti. You'll see Hauga, maybe Brahim, Lolo Colombo. I think, Patrick, you call him Lolo, no? I swear it was you.
Lolo, yeah. I mean,
Lolo.
that's his nickname, I think.
Yeah, that's his nickname, Lolo Colombo, and he's
absolutely. I got that from Suma.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah, Suma. I can't believe how jacked he is as an 18-year-old. He's huge.
No, he's a big boy.
Oh my God, he's hitting the gym. Yeah, I look at myself. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's massive. You know what? If you watched the match yesterday, you watched the highlights. He's an aggressive guy. Like, he gets in. He probably had about 6 fouls yesterday. He was lucky to not get on a yellow card. Maldini actually went into a challenge and got on a yellow card.
I saw that.
I was talking to a few of my friends' parents and stuff, and they were like, wow, they're looking at Daniel Maldini starting and saying, well, we're getting old. You look at Maldini and you look at like Justin Cliver. He's starting for
scoring that banger.
Banger for against Leipzig.
Against United.
Yeah. But
the Justin Cliver one was good. I did Juve Roma last year in the Coppa Italia.
Oh yeah.
And I think Buffon was playing, and I managed to find. I saw that Cliver's another one. He's it's the day of players born in 1999, and he was born, I think, on the 5th of May 1999. And I just looked back and I saw that was the year that Buffon won his first Coppa Italia with Parma. And then as luck, it was back in the day when there were 2-legged Coppa Italia finals. And as luck would have it, the first leg of that Coppa Italia final was played on the day that Justin Kluivert was born. So, I was doing my prep. I was like, please start, please score. And I think he was on the bench. It was really disappointing, having found that sort of, occasionally as commentators, we're trying to crowbar these stats in. But it was, that just showed the longevity of Buffon more than anything else.
No, exactly. Isn't that crazy? But how long, I guess I kind of wanted to go into this, but how long have you been in calcio or just the sport in general for, like with work?
So I've been working on Serie A since the 2013-14 season.
So with Milan, so it's your fault then that Milan have dropped then, right?
I'll tell you what, I've been I've only ever commentated on Juventus winning the title. They've never been here for a season when they haven't won the league, to be honest. So it's a strange one, to be honest. For much of that period, not only Milan but also Inter in the doldrums. So it's nice to see them both on the way up. If you look at the league table this season, it's the way things should be. With the greatest of respect to other clubs that have done well in recent times. But when you see Milan, Inter, Napoli, and Juventus, that's just great to see, and I hope that it continues. And I think that it probably will, because a 5-point cushion is going to take some coming back for the other guys. But I'm getting sidetracked. No, so I've been doing Serie A since 2013-14 with a brief hiatus in between. I left to move to Lisbon midway through the 2014-15 season.
Portugal.
I was there for 18 months. I worked for BTV, the Benfica in-house channel. They do their games. They used to do their games in English for an international audience. So I did those for a season and a half, and then I came back to Italy, albeit worked at Inter TV for 18 months. So probably cumulatively between 2013-14 and what are we in now? 2021. This is probably my 5th full season, if I've done the maths right. Yeah. No, but it's been good. It's been great.
Yeah, that's good. So you speak Portuguese too as well then?
I do, yeah, and French.
Okay, awesome. So you're multilingual. So what would you say you speak the best in?
Italian these days. Yeah.
Well, you're in Milan. You're in Milano, right?
Living here. My girlfriend's from Naples, so
no way.
Yeah.
Is she and then?
Her mum's a massive Napoli fan.
Oh no!
Maradona posters on the wall as you go in. Proper cliche, but it always makes me chuckle as an Englishman, to be honest. But she's not that into football, which is quite nice. You can sort of switch off from it occasionally.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So where are you from in England, Patrick?
I come from Winchester in the south. Yeah.
Okay.
So my team growing up was Southampton.
No way. Do you still ever watch them just?
Yeah, I still watch, but the support, to be honest, has waned. Just from living here. We have the Premier League on Sky Italia, which is great, so I can keep up with that. But I'm busy a lot with Serie A over the course of the weekend, and then B, just professionally, it's I think you can get away as a commentator a bit more with having a sort of lower league team. I think if your team's in the Premier League, you need to be a bit more wary about. Thankfully, I'm not covering the Premier League at the moment. But you do get more of an insight into which commentators support who these days. You do. Just by following them on Twitter, seeing which tweets they like and retweet and things like that. But most of the prominent guys back home in London tend to support, Sunderland or Torquay United or Woking, whoever it may be. So there's no real danger of them being. They still do get accused of bias, but I guess it comes with the job. Yeah.
So have you fell in love with Serie A then since 2013? Have you fell in love with the drama of it and just what it is for what it is?
I have, to be honest. Yeah. So I studied French and Italian at university. So I'm an interpreter by training, a conference interpreter.
Yeah, I've watched you.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So for me, it was always an ambition of mine to get back to Italy. The difficulty was trying to reconcile also my aspirations to be a commentator, basically, which was always going to be in English. So as soon as I found out that there was an opportunity to commentate on Italian football in English from Italy, I jumped at the chance, basically. The irony actually was that right at the start of my career, I was doing a lot of games from London in Italian. So I had to, and then I almost got pigeonholed as this, and French as well, pigeonholed as this multilingual commentator. The irony is I had to move from London to Italy to be able to commentate in English. But it's been crazy. It's been fun. Yeah.
So So you had to so you changed your whole life then going to Italy, right? Like you left and you've been in Italy ever since then.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky in that I was doing a lot of work remotely at the time. So I was working for a translation, a football language agency, and we were translating the English versions, the English website for Inter, Roma, latterly we did Sampdoria. Yeah, we had a few, and then we do tweets and things as well for other clubs, and that's become. And I did that on off for many years, so I was able to make enough doing that week in, week out, and then pick up some weekend work with the commentaries, and it's just really grown from there.
And Patrick, quick question also, because you're in Italy, and with the past 2 weeks, we had Maradona passing away, and then just Paolo Rossi. See, what's the impact you see, especially with Paolo Rossi? Have you seen people really saddened in Italy? Because in '82 he did win the World Cup for Italy, because he was just unbelievable, especially with the 3 games. So what was the impacts you've seen in Italy so far?
I mean, yeah, people are very emotional because Paolo Rossi means a lot for Italian football, not just because he won the World Cup in '82, he won the Ballon d'Or as well. But anyone that you've spoken to, and he worked across a number of different media outlets over the course of his, once he retired from the game, I've got a lot of contacts there, and I've seen it on Twitter, on LinkedIn, having spoken to people. This was a lovely man as well, and he was very humble and good-natured, great sense of humor. So he clearly achieved a lot. It's difficult to gauge, to be honest, simply because all of the matches are being played behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So I think you'd get much greater insight into what it means and what he meant if you were able to see fans in attendance. But we will have tributes around the grounds this weekend, just as we did with Maradona. Paolo Rossi less synonymous with a number. So whereas in the 10th minute the ball was essentially put out of play. And there was the tribute to Maradona on the big screen. I think there's going to be a minute's silence. The players will wear black armbands, and his picture will be on the big screen of all 10 Serie A grounds that are hosting matches this weekend. But it's just it's very young as well, 64. So
too young.
Yeah,
young. Even Maradona, 60 and 64. I think they should have had at least 20, 25, 30 more years left.
Yeah, it's tragic.
Maradona needed a striker in heaven. So
yeah, you're right. It's good. They needed in heaven. They needed each other. They're going to play together.
Yeah, I saw a great tweet actually. This guy Simone Stenti, who used to work for Juventus, and he said, "What sort of five-a-side tournament are they organising up there this year?"
Oh, even with Cruyff, even Cruyff's there too, right? So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so you know what? I guess I'll ask too. What is the situation in Milano right now? Are you is it a red zone or what's going on?
We've moved into orange and we're shortly going to yellow, I believe.
Oh, that's good. That's positive.
Yeah, it is positive. It's strange because the first lockdown was extreme, and my flat overlooks a busy roundabout in the centre of Milan, and so it's quite a good barometer of how many people are out and about. And in March and April, it was just ghost town. It was like something out of the apocalypse. Now it's back to normality because a lot of people can go to work and are working from the office. There's still a lot of smart working, as they call it over here, people working from home. But it's going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out over Christmas as well. There are government restrictions, meaning that you can't technically change region beyond the 20th of December, which makes things certainly very fun for those of us that are based in Milan, but hopefully planning to spend Christmas in Naples and this area right up until the 23rd of December. So, yeah, it's all it's a little bit fraught at the moment, but mask wearing is brilliant in Italy. Everyone out in the street always wearing masks. Italians are very cautious about their health. Some people might call it hypochondria, but I would say it's just it's good sense. And so, I think despite these difficult conditions, I do feel very safe, and I think everyone's been very responsible, which is good.
Yeah. Have you been to Canada before ever in your life?
I have. I love Canada.
Where have you been?
So I went to Montreal back in 2010 because a good friend of mine got married to a Québécoise, and so she was from Montreal. They now live in Mississauga, which I struggle to pronounce. So in my head, it's Mrs. Agua. Do you know what I mean?
Mrs.
Like,
Agua,
Mrs. Agua.
I don't know, but so yeah, I've been to stay with him on the lake. The last time I went, actually, I did some work with MLS up at TFC. So
no way.
we were up at their training ground for a week. That would have been the World Cup year, so 2016. So that was a lot of fun. Actually, we had that when we were there, Spurs came through and Milan came through because they were playing International Champions Cup at BMO Field.
Oh, that's 2014. 2014 for Milan.
To that,
Yeah, I went to watch the
World
match.
Cup year, yeah, 2014. Why am I saying 2016? That was the Euros. Yeah. So my friend and I got a. I've never been one for asking celebs or footballers for photos, but we were dressed in ridiculous gear at the time because my friend had just come back from the World Cup in Brazil. He brought back a load of cheap replica shirts. And I remember, I think he was wearing Flamengo or something like that, and I can't remember what I had on. But we got these. I should probably send them to you on Twitter.
Yeah.
We got these ridiculous photos with Pochettino and with Balotelli as well.
No way, wait. I think Bolo had the blonde mohawk, right?
He did, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got these very blurred photos because I couldn't find the originals. I think I ended up downloading them from my Facebook account before I deleted that.
No way.
But that was great time. I love Canada. I just think it's wonderful quality of life. I think it's the perfect model of integration. I mean, I got to know so many people working a summer job many years ago in Italy as a sort of English camp tutor, second and third generation immigrants in Canada from all over, Italy, Lebanon, Serbia, Croatia. I just think it's a fabulous place. I think really civilized people. And just it's just the climate that bugs me a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, especially now. Yeah,
you know what? It's not been too bad lately. It's for cold. It hasn't gotten too bad. I think up until Christmas, I looked at the 14-day. I don't think it's getting too cold. But
I know there have been a couple of really cold days here by the lake.
If I go look at my car outside, it's probably all in ice. But it's, you know what though, if you're here, like if you were to move here, for example, you get used to that cold, right? So it's just, I mean,
and where are you guys all based?
In near the Toronto area, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm the only one. I'm in New York, but Mississauga is actually, I visit a lot. I have a whole bunch of family there. So Toronto's my second home, Mississauga.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm situated in Mississauga, like right by the lake here.
Oh, that's gorgeous. No, the thing I felt in Montreal especially, but also in Toronto, I loved it because I'm patently in North America, but I feel like I'm in Europe. Something I never get when I go to the US. 100%. I go to the US 3 or 4 times a year for work. Again with MLS, and I always feel a bit of a fish out of water. It's bizarre being in the US as an Englishman, I find, because I'm like, I understand them, they understand me, but I never feel completely comfortable there. Whereas I went to Canada, I just felt a lot more relaxed. Maybe it's because there were fewer guns. Anyway, I'm going to get in trouble, so I should probably leave it here.
No, you're exactly right, Patrick. I feel the same way because I live here in the States, and when I come to visit my family in Toronto, I feel the same way. Like I feel more relaxed. I feel more part of the city. It's just it's a different feeling. It's good to be part of Toronto.
It's cool. You said you did some work with TFC. Like I myself, I'm a massive Toronto FC fan too. For a local team, like I was there. We made the MLS Cup final twice.
Yeah. No,
I was there both times. We lost in penalties the first one. We played Seattle again, and we got the revenge with Jovinko too, which was great, and Altidore. But I thought I'd ask because I always ask if people have been to Canada. Usually Canada's pretty high, highly regarded. Well, you know what? There's actually a question in the chat. Let's go to that quickly. So Rahit says, what do you think about our January window? Who do you think we will sign? So Patrick, you, from what you've watched from Milan, obviously you've been really impressed with them. We know we've great record. We're scoring goals. We're not conceding too much. But if there was a hole or if there was an improvement to be made, and you watch all the players in Serie A, and you've probably watched players outside of Serie A too, but what do you think are there any names that you could think of or any positions that Milan need to fill or help out?
It's tricky because you can't get away from the fact that Ibrahimovic is getting on. Now he's injured at the moment. You don't really have. I mean, we've seen, the experiment with Colombo. They've tried to play Maldini. There is no genuine centre forward besides Ibrahimovic. Pioli often says that Rebic is not a centre forward. He plays out wide or he's a second striker. Hauger I've really enjoyed as well, but again, he seems to be cutting in from out wide. So to me, it's Chicho Caputo. I mean, if I were to recommend any striker, it would be him. But again, even he's, I think he's
an older guy.
So,
but would he realistically come to Milan?
I would love him. I love
be a
Chicho.
second fiddle.
I'm not. I don't know whether he would necessarily be up for sale, but that's the sort of player I think that Milan could sign, and then you're guaranteed to maintain the output even when Ibrahimovic isn't there. I think centre forward is the one position that concerns me. I look at the rest of the team. I think the spine is fantastic. The goalkeeper is world class, and he's been getting better year in, year out. I love Kessié in the midfield, or Kessié as I like to call him, because he's got an accent on his name that he chooses to ignore. It's a really good team. We've spoken about the centre backs. Çalhanoğlu, I think, is hugely underrated. So I think that's the one position that would concern me if I were a Milan fan. And I thought we've got our best opportunity in 10 years now to win the title. Let's go for it, and let's set aside 20 million, and we're going to pay 20 million for a 33-year-old on the basis he might only give us 18 good months. But in the meantime, we win the title, and by winning the title, we get back into the Champions League. Meanwhile, fans return to stadium, revenues up because of the Champions League, and maybe then you can start to manage Ibra's playing time a bit more. I don't know. I mean, that's just one name that's come to mind. If you can get a better player with more potential and like great shelf life, that might be a better option.
Okay, it's like, so in the chat, Nathan says, what about Gianluca Scamacca? Excuse me.
Same club as well, curiously. Yeah, I mean, I find it strange that, presumably Sassuolo didn't legislate for Caputo getting injured this season, but Scamacca's looked really good at Genoa, and his age. I fear he's the sort of player that's destined to go to Juventus.
I hope not. Don't say that. I hope not. No,
but we shall see. We shall see. I know he would be. He's exactly the sort of player that you would want. I mean, he's
a tall number 9. He
powerful,
can do everything.
He can finish. Yeah, I actually did the game, their win over Samp in the cup, and he scored 2.
Yeah, he scored 2.
2 very different goals. But the second one was just brilliant. He just smashed it in from 25 yards. So no, I think that's a very good option, to be fair. But there are good players all round. You could go and get Milik in January.
Yeah, you know what though? The thing is though, it's funny because I don't know if you noticed, but in Italy they all like to use like English words, like English sayings, English words while they talk, and like the big thing is low cost. Low cost. You even say it on Milan News, low cost. I just think Milik might cost too much from what our budget is. Like I just don't know how much we have there to spend, and I think that's an issue, right? And it's
I don't think the situation over there with him in Napoli is any good though. But then it all depends on De Laurentiis.
You might be able to get him on the cheap. But what about a guy like Cornelius on Parma?
I don't think he's up to Milan level, if I'm honest.
No. Yeah. Even as a rotation, if Ibra gets hurt.
Possibly, he's a difficult one to assess because he occasionally has these amazing games. He scored 2 hat-tricks against Genoa last season, but that was more than half of his goal tally, I think. So he practices to deceive a bit. When he's good, he's very good, and otherwise he's fairly anonymous. From what I've seen, I did a fair bit of Parma last season, so it's a tricky one because you want someone that. I mean, Scamacca's a good option, but is he going to guarantee you those goals? I think you're better off going for someone who is that bit more experienced or established. Exactly.
The person I would want, if I may interrupt, I think this Milan team needs another winner, another serial winner who's won trophies everywhere he's gone. I think Giroud is the best guy to have. But then again, would he drop from Chelsea to Milan? Playing,
I don't know. I mean,
probably the same amount of time.
Apparently, there's been rumors that he wants to leave Chelsea. So I don't. But he scored a hat trick. He scored 4. He got the poker. He scored 4 against Sevilla. I don't know. You know what? I actually had a list of names here. I was gonna throw them out to you guys, and then you guys tell me how crazy I am or not. Because you know what, people in the chat want to hear about the mercato, and like for example, Quagliarella. No, right away, he's not leaving Sam.
Too old. I love him, but he's too old.
Yeah, I don't think he'd join.
Okay, another one that I was thinking of, Kevin Lasagna, Udinese.
That's tough because he is a quality player.
And he's left-footed.
But you know what? Would I say that he's, you know what, like what Umberto said, I prefer someone more experienced like Giroud.
Yeah, fair enough. But if we can get experience, would Vlahovic on Fiorentina, remember they called him the new Ibra?
They mentioned it, but I just don't see it. Like,
I don't watch enough of him to actually
Patrick,
come up with a conclusion.
You've done Fiorentina this year. What do you think of Vlahovic?
I really like Vlahovic, but his confidence is rock bottom from the looks of it. He's really young. He's only 20, but he's got everything. He's got a huge frame. He's got a lovely left foot. He's quick. I really liked him when I seen him, particularly last season. But this year, it's the way Fiorentina are going. I mean, I thought Prandelli would come in, start him, and he has done, but he's just not. He had that shot that Donnarumma pushed onto the post that no one even realised was a save until the replay.
Afterwards,
an unbelievable stop. And maybe if that goes in, it changes his season, to be honest. But no, he's definitely got potential. There's a lot of good players out there. I really like Enzola that plays for Spezia. I think he's been very
good. He looked good against Lazio at the weekend.
Yeah, he did. He scored a great goal. He twisted Acerbi inside out. I did that game actually. And he's impressive. There are some good players out there for sure.
So would a guy like I have, sorry to interrupt, but like, okay, you look at Lazio, you look at Caicedo. Is that a player that you think that Milan would need someone like Caicedo or no?
Caicedo is exactly the model you want to go for if you're trying to push for the title. I would suggest Giroud's a good name. I think he'd be quite pricey. I think he's been heavily linked with Inter as well.
What was that?
I think he wants to join up with Conte.
What about Zaza?
Zaza, I would go for. To be honest, I would just break the bank and bring in Belotti. And just say,
do you know how
you need to be patient for 1 year? We're going to spend 60 million because he's not 100 million anymore. He's probably 60 million. We're going to spend that. Be patient for a year whilst Ibra does his thing, and then you're going to be the main man for 6-7 years.
I remember Cairo was so stubborn in those negotiations, and he wanted 100 million, never got it, and he made a mistake in my opinion. If he would have lowered his demands just a little bit, he would have been able to make a lot of money on Belotti. And look at Torino now; they just saved a relegation last season, and now they're back in relegation again. When Gianpaolo, he's going to lose his job.
And thank God they've got Belotti; otherwise they'd be a lot worse off than they even are now.
You know, I can't believe they choked the derby. I can't believe they didn't at least get a point from that match. That was awful. They're defending in the box. Juve put 2 crosses in, and there was free headers both times.
Yeah, McKennie was there, and then Bonucci. No one's guarding him. Free kick. So, defending.
I have another guy I'm looking at just in Serie A, Okaka.
Stefano Okaka-Chuka.
Like, is he a guy you look at, or like Roberto Inglese? Are these? And listen, you say, okay, these guys aren't Milan level. They're not. I'm not going to pretend they are. But low cost operations. Is that a player that can help in case?
But you also need quality with low cost.
I like what Patrick, the person he mentioned, Caicedo. I think
but he's not coming from Lazio. We're just talking about him because he's good for Lazio. But okay, listen, I have another option. Listen, I'm just gonna throw names out here. Di Carmine, Hellas Verona, Di Carmine.
Ooh.
Now, he looks. Patrick, you've done Verona this season, right? He's looked good.
He's been good, yeah, and he had a decent season last season as well. I think Pessina ended up pipping him as top goal scorer for Verona, but he's another of those that tends to score goals in patches. So I don't think he's Milan level, even as a backup. To be honest, I think he needs to be pushing to the next level. I think he might have been Milan worthy 2 or 3 years ago, but the way the club are going at this stage. He's probably not quite there, to be honest. But
I think Milik might be an option that, because you said his price it can't be high. What has he done? What are they going to do with Milik? They They have Osimhen, they have Petagna. They have no room, and they have Mertens who can play in the center forward role. So
yeah, if I'm not mistaken, his contract expires at the end of the
so you can
the
get him
year, right?
You can
Season.
get him for super cheap, or you can wait. But I feel like we need someone in January. And Nathan just said in the chat here, if Torino drops to Serie B, if they do relegate, there's no way Belotti stays at that club. There's no way.
There's no way.
But the thing is, Okaido's so stubborn. You guys remember, Patrick, and you're in Milano at this time too, so you probably remember this. Like Galliani was it Galliani? No, was it Galliani? No, I think it was Mirabelli, wasn't it? Mirabelli and Fasone.
They tried to get him.
They had a summit at 1 a.m. with Cairo to try to get Belotti, and nothing came of it. It's just
didn't they offer him like 60 plus Niang and Mexes on loans or something?
60 plus Mexes and Niang, and they said no. And
what a waste.
Torino's been struggling ever since. But yeah, like Nathan, if you have any other names in the chat or Rohit, you guys think of. I mean, the thing is, though, I like to look at Serie A because, as we know, a lot of transfers are made within Serie A, right? Like it's a lot of teams have good relationships. So when a player comes available, when a team needs something, especially one of the bigger clubs, usually the smaller clubs are there to make some profit, some plusvalenza, right? So I think. Would you guys say that aside from the center forward? I mean, unless we trust Lolo Colombo,
I think we also need a midfielder.
Another midfielder, you think?
I think we need like an experienced guy like Milan Badelj playing for a crappy team that just wants to get out and finally win a trophy in his life.
I mean,
very low cost, very quality guy who Milan wanted a while back.
It'd be loan with option to buy. Like anything we do would be a loan with an option to buy. Well, I think Patrick just. Everything we do have to be a loan with an option to buy, right? It have to be low cost operations, and that's what is tough with Milan right now. It's tough to predict this mercato because I don't know. It's tough.
You think he left because I said Milan should go by Milan Badelj?
No. So Patrick had to leave. So it was great having him on. I've listened to him for a long time. But yeah, like.
And it was great chatting with him. But
I know.
He made a lot of great points, and Luca, all those names that you mentioned, great names. But like for me, it would be, it's kind of unrealistic because I doubt, that they will come to Milan. But Giroud, but like you said, Umberto, like with Conte, he has that relationship, so I could see him going to Inter. But then I love Caicedo too. I think he's a great backup to Ibra, but.
He's been doing amazing with Lazio. He's been the amazing super sub. He's been their version of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Caicedo.
I also have
Caicedo,
big question for you guys. So now we have this, the left side now. We have Rebic, Leao, and Hage, right? So we have three guys, and all three of them have been, playing fantastic. Now my thing is, who do you choose to be starting? Because
Rebic day in, day out.
It's always going to be Rebic. But the thing is, though, we have Milan have done a good Maldini, Mazzara. They've done a good job of adding depth, and depth has been a massive, massive, massive problem in this team. So, it's what I mean. So it's like when we have a guy like Brahim Diaz on the bench, that's good depth.
That's good, man. Even someone like Castillejo, who like Milan have depended on for a while, like now he's on the bench.
Well, yeah, he starts some matches, and we have. To be honest with you, I'm a big fan of Alexis Salamackers personally.
Also, but I think Leao should be given a shot outright with Rebic and Ibra.
I love Leao, but have you guys noticed he's kind of nonchalant sometimes in the field?
I noticed that, and I kind of get upset when I see him like just nonchalant because the guy just beat him, got the ball from him, and he's just strolling by.
He has his natural ability is nuts. Like he has crazy talent. Even when he's like his strides with the ball, crazy.
The strides are great, yeah.
When he did that move against Inter, against Hakimi, and then he just laughed in. Whose face was he laughing in? Ambrosio's face or something?
Yeah.
Ambrosio. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like he's a great player, and I can't wait to see him really blossom under Ibra, and he's gonna keep getting better. But he just needs to keep having a good attitude, and again, we've talked about it in the last show. You hear Pioli, "Dai Rafa, bravo Rafa, bravo Rafa, bravo Rafa, dai Rafa." So obviously he's trying to like ignite that fire under him, right?
He's someone with huge amount. Him and Hauge have so much potential. And even Brahim. Brahim's
Oh,
going to turn out to be such a good little wizard when
Brahim
he's
has
older.
great balance when he has the
It's-
ball.
Yeah, but see, one guy I would like because like I'm not a fan of like having guys that are that have like all these transfer rumors up in their head, all these rumors circulating. Like for example, like Çalhanoğlu. Like
Yeah.
he's doing well, saying all fake news, don't believe it. But like, you know what? I wouldn't mind if he leaves and Milan pick up like a left-footed playmaker, like someone that can fully bring someone like Diaz under their wing for like 2-3 years.
I want to keep Hakan.
Like, yeah, he's been good, but he's so very inconsistent. Like, he finished the season amazingly, and now he started it off like
no, but he's had a good year in my opinion. Even if the numbers.
Oh, he's had a great calendar year.
No, I'm talking about even this season. His numbers maybe aren't there, like assist wise or goal wise, but he's been good in my opinion. He has the most. Look at the numbers. He has the most key passes in Serie A. He has the most chances created in Serie A. He's finally listen. We look at the years prior. He's playing left wing. He's not a left winger. He's a trequartista, a modern one too. So he's modern because he fills different holes on the field. I actually watched a little video, like there's a tactical video analyzing what he does for the team. And I don't know, for those who are listening, what are your thoughts on Hakan? Like he says fake news. I don't know if he's actually demanding €7 million. I don't know. It could be fake.
I think if he is, there's something wrong with his head.
No, if he's demanding €7 million, he's not going to get more than Donnarumma and Ibra. Like he has to relax.
I think it's just like he's trying to just press for more money. That's all he's doing. I think he wants to stay. But even Fabrizio Romano was saying that they're just negotiating the contract and just price is the issue right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for €7 million, I'd rather get someone that's proven like Ozil.
But
play behind Ibra.
Is that,
or get someone like Eriksen.
Yeah, but do you want like Eriksen doesn't look good at Inter? Is he gonna look good at Milan?
Yes, because he'd actually have a competent coach in a real system in his position.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I can make sense, but like
he look at what Pochettino made Eriksen look like, a top 5 center attacking mid in the world.
But
whenever Ozil had a competent head coach, he was the best attacking playmaker in the world.
I'm a big fan of Ozil, to be honest with you.
Like who did Ozil have? Ozil had Unai Emery and the professor and Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, that's going to be the biggest drop-off after having someone like Arsene Wenger.
He had Mourinho, Ancelotti.
He had Ancelotti, he had Mourinho. Like,
yeah.
Even Wenger. Like, those are 3 masters of the game.
He was good under Wenger, too.
He was amazing under Wenger. Arsenal made him amazing.
Yeah, he's a good player. And honestly, but the only thing is with Eriksen and Ozil is that they have high wages. They have high wages, too. That's the only issue, and they're old. No, Eriksen maybe not, but Ozil's old.
But see, my argument is if we have to pay someone high wages, I'd rather it be to proven players.
Yeah, but I think it'd be more than €7 million.
Well, there's another name that they're saying that could be a potential replacement. He's on Club Brugge. His name is Charles de Ketteler.
Dicketimer or something. Dicketlemmer.
Dicketimer or whatever. Yeah.
Great in the Champions League. Like I've been seeing his performances. He's really good. Like I can see a lot of potential in him,
or even Dominic Szoboszlai.
Well,
like what Nathan said.
They announced.
But apparently, according to Sky Germany,
he's going to Leipzig for 25.
Yeah. Would you take Isco?
Oh, 100. He's been one of my favorite players.
Yeah, Isco. I would like. I mean, if Hakan, but the thing is though, if we can't renew his contract, I would hope that we try to sell him and get some money back in January. I really hope so.
Well, here's the thing, like say we get the money from him, how about
if we can sell him for like, and listen, is his contract expiring, so it won't be anything over €10 million. If we can sell him for a decent fee, and then get rid of his wage off the books, and that actually frees up money to buy someone else, and then you have to redeem Brahim Diaz. So I think we will.
Hopefully they have like a gentleman's agreement.
We have a gentleman's agreement with Real Madrid, I think, and I think we have I think we have a low-key agreement with Manchester United for Diogo Dalot too.
Dude, Dalot's learning Italian. Dalot wants to be here, man. You think he wants to go back to that shit box of Manchester United?
No, he doesn't. When I see a guy learning Italian, I think, okay, maybe he was told something like, okay, hey, you might be staying here for the foreseeable future. And like even like Alexis Salamakers, he. I don't know if you guys listened to his interview, but he's learned Italian. Like he speaks pretty well for a guy who's been here since January.
Yeah. Well, also he spoke French. He spoke
I
he
know.
spoke German, so for him it comes easy.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, usually if you can speak French, it's Romance language. It's easier, but it's still impressive. It's still like Umbi. Like there's one thing to say, yeah, I can speak it, but to go in front of a camera and speak
And
to
actually speak
people,
it.
it's tougher, right? So, and even like you see Jans Peter Hauga. Milan posted a video today of him learning Italian, which is nice, kind of funny. It's like an elementary school textbook.
Yeah. With
It's
one line.
Yeah, with
on a
one
blank piece
line.
of paper.
Has like the months and the days of the week, and the numbers. But no, still, it's and Delo's learning Italian. I actually like Delo a lot as a rotation fullback. He can play on both sides.
Oh, I think he needs to start soon, very, very soon.
But the issue is that Calabria's been good.
Yeah, I wouldn't change anything. Yeah, I would still have Calabria.
No, but
I wouldn't say Calabria's
but
been
it's
good. I would say he's playing like he should be playing.
Nah, he's
playing
been good for his standards.
bang above average.
Yeah, but like he hasn't made any mistakes.
No, exactly.
But the thing is that Delo is a player that can play in the Europa League and you can put him in a Europa League match and have tons of confidence in him, right? So that's why it's good for rest and stuff like that. You give Theo that rest, like imagine if we played like Diego Laxalt yesterday. Like actually, hilariously enough, he's been really really good for Celtic apparently.
Everyone loves him there.
Yeah,
I read all those tweets from Celtic.
I talked to a couple Celtic fans, and they said that the rumor is in Scotland. The rumor is that they're going to redeem him, or the other rumor is that we're going to work out a deal to give them Laxalt, and we're going to get Christophe Ayer from them, the center back who's very good. That'd be nice. I don't want Laxalt back, so if
I don't know if he didn't stand out against Milan.
In the first game he did. First leg he did.
He did?
Yeah, he was good. He was really, really good. Him and Frimpong are their best players.
Yeah.
And like I was talking to my one friend, he said, yeah, like Ayer is like their leader, like he's like one of their best players. But he'd be a good like third, fourth choice option, right? Like and he's young too. He's Norwegian as well, so good for Jans Petter.
Oh my God, we get all these Norwegians soon. We're gonna also get Haaland.
Imagine we got Haaland €70 million. Imagine Maldini comes in and just splashes the cash on Erling Braut Haaland.
Yes, exactly. And just imagine that, guys. If that does happen, you know what would happen to Milan after? I think we would be probably, really big contenders. If we say we advance to the Champions League, right, and we get Haaland, we're big contenders in the Champions League after.
Yeah. I think when the day Ibrahimovic retires, I think they need to make a splash on someone like that just to prove that, no, this wasn't just a short-term thing. We're trying to come back. And imagine Hauge, Haaland, and having a competent attacking mid that's just going to send them through balls day in, day out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it would be unstoppable. Those two guys, and then Trequartista, who's phenomenal. If Chanologo stays, who knows? But I think that would be insane. But yeah, January is going to be big. I think January is big. And the most important thing, if we make Champions League, I think the summertime is going to be even bigger because, star players want to play in the Champions League. And then, Milan's back in it. Of course, a lot of players are going to want to play for us. You think Dalot wants to go to Manchester United and live there where it's always rainy, cloudy, cold? Like, you got Milan where it's like very international. Me as a player, I would prefer Milan over Manchester United, or Manchester at least, yeah.
Yeah.
Food, come on, you can't resist the food.
Oh, yeah, no, but then again, also Manchester is another historic team. It's like when you talk about historic teams, you talk about Real Madrid, you talk about Milan, you talk about Liverpool, Barcelona, Manchester United. So it's normal. But then also they got the money. But it also depends on the guy's head.
I also think it's like the city itself too, because not only that you're playing there at that team, but you're also going to be living there. So I think players like cities like Madrid, Barcelona, Milan, cities like that. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, I think that the Mercato in January is going to be extremely. I mean, they're all important, but they're going to be extremely, extremely important. And I don't know. I think it's going to be tough, and I think I believe in Maldini, Mazzara, and hopefully we have a little bit of money to spend, or I don't know if we're gonna get rid of anybody because I feel like if anything, we get a center back and get rid of like Duarte. He's gonna go back to Brazil or something. But I don't know.
See, I wouldn't get rid of him. He did decently well yesterday.
He's decent fourth, fifth choice. I guess he'd be fifth choice right now.
Exactly. And hey,
and Pierre Kalulu, by the way, like he plays center. He can play center back. He can also play right back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what they bought him for now, to be our new right back.
Yeah, no, like they bought him for both. Like, he's versatile. Like I like versatility, and like Diogo Dalot, he can play both sides on left back and right back, which is massive, right? Like any injury happens, or I'm comfortable with Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot. Diogo. It's not Diego. It's Diogo.
Diogo.
But yeah, we've been talking for a long time. We'll wrap it up here. We'll hopefully get another episode before Christmas. I'm really hoping so, or maybe even after. Nathan, Rohit, thank you for your messages in the chat. Really, really appreciate it. Stay tuned for the next episodes, and we'd love to hear from you. Send us a DM whenever you want. We'll thank Patrick Kendrick for coming on. Really awesome Serie A commentator. I've been listening.
Oh, that was amazing to have him. We had a celebrity on our podcast.
Great, because like, I'm assuming like you know his voice, right? You hear him talk, it's like, oh, I know that guy.
Now we'll actually know him. We'll be like, oh crap, we actually did a podcast with him.
Great guy, and honestly, I'm going to talk to him. We'll bring him on in the future again. But yeah, Umbi Marco, it was really great talking to you guys again. And guys, for the Milan Guys listeners, thanks so much for listening. We're going to hope to have a episode before Christmas, but if not, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, or Hanukkah, or whatever you
Happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, or whatever you celebrate it safely. But yeah, it was nice talking to Patrick and you guys, and yeah, we'll end it off for this episode. Okay, Forza Milan, ciao guys.
All right, Forza Napoli sempre.
No.